Yeah, they're playing the Battle of the Hills right now, with the king being Onyx, of course, already getting one knock onto Voki. That's Seasky. So, you know, high ground advantage here. Onyx, on paper, should be able to take this one, but this Axis isn't push-arounds. They might be able to bounce back if they can make something happen here. They have to make their call really, really fast here. But Onyx has all their members. It seems more like it's a suicide attempt here. Voki gets confirmed, and that's first blood going to the side of Onyx.
That's a really good catch. Seasky only will need to also help his fallen brethren right there. Error. Now down on his feet. Axis Red One ain't too happy about losing their captain. They will have to try to go in for some refrags. Haydu now taking over the hill. He does not spot them out. There's too many vision blockage coming in from the smoke grenades that's been thrown out. And Axis Red One might actually opt to back away, as you see Haydu slowly repositioning, using the UAZ. And they may just, you know, say, we're fine losing one member. We don't want to crash out all too early. And I think this is the wiser step to take for the team that's been able to qualify to the Pmpl Southeast Asia for the very first time.
Yeah, and you know that was kind of textbook on how high ground advantage gives you so much in that in a 1v1 situation here, or a 4v4 situation. Like that alone, it's so hard to peer up, to look upwards and not have anything in your face.
Right.
Because it's a curve. There's a curve gradient there. So they could be just a couple of steps back and they're hidden from your sight.
And you look at the position of Onyx, they have trees for cover and a couple of all these tiny little slopes for them to at least leverage on as protection. You know, grenades, they have this fall off trajectory. When it bounces, it can just basically lob towards the side where you don't really want it to land. So it's kind of hard to really catch on to Onyx. Now as we look to NFT Esports, this was a team that also almost got close to elimination. They start off the week pretty much on the low run, and then they've got themselves a huge swing of momentum as they hit their way into, I believe, a match in Sanok, and they got themselves high number of kills, and then with the chicken dinner, they got into the Super Weekend, and I'm glad to see the veterans back at it. Now, this is a team that we vote for.
Yeah.
Vampire Esports, as we have Fluke on the scouting position.
Yeah, very deadly Vampire Esports. A very, very new team here, but their players has got history that dates back. Take a look at the circle, though, now favoring the mainland sure at this point. Infinity, who's just by the bridge, just gatekeeping it in case of, you know, some teams that's coming out from it. They will get it paid off here, as you know, we can see one team's currently an SMB, but MSC also another Thailand team. Actually, why don't you just go down the list of all the Thailand teams, because it seems like every single one of them is fatal with a gun.
They are. And all of them have qualified to the Super Weekend, and it already tells you that they're definitely hot shots out there. Swafel is kind of hanging out by the beach, taking a little bit of sightseeing, taking some pictures, and now back to the buggy saying, okay, sightseeing's over. We got to take a good spot to camp out on. And it's interesting to also look at the mini-map early on that Evil's Reborn, they could have actually hang about a little bit longer in Very Pure, but they had that hunch that, okay, it most likely will shift. They took over the Lighthouse and slowly hit into the south side of Pachinki. Now they're in that perfect mid position inside the circle, but they will have to carry out a perfect defense. Horpai, all alone though, jumper on foot, and he heard those movements from the buggy and is slowly scouting up ahead for FaZe Clan.
Yeah, Jumper's got to be careful though. I think he has been caught out one too many times now so far, and at least in the weekday, not the Super Weekend, my bad. Yeah, but they're doing pretty fine in the Super Weekend, I think. 10th place, not too bad, not too shabby. 98 points, still very doable for them to catch up. We've seen Team Secret. They are a PMGC team, but Bantam, they were the ones who were in SMB, now trying to make a cross over the bridge.
Good to see us stuck, though.
Oh, it feels bad.
That's a bummer.
Well, at least he's taking the right steps here. If he would have continued his way forward, Infinity would have gunned him down. They were just ready to block this entire entrance.
Well, if it were to be a buggy, they would have actually got out smoothly. Now another one being stuck here. Batman making some awkward moves.
Hey, they made it.
They've got 2 vehicles to move with. They have to ditch one, and they say, "Silence, don't worry, we've got you." And now, going with the pickup here, they're just gonna look underneath the bridge, and they have to be very wary of the positioning where Infinity is currently at, the lighthouse, as well as the houses just by the left-hand side where we see the sniper bunker. Now, yep, Silence's vehicle is still stuck right by, and this is going to be quite tough for Batnam.
Oh, Vampire Esports gets a knock though. Batnam. This was the other team who was by this entrance of the gate, of this bridge, and now they're going to pay the price. Batnam Silence gets naded out from the game. Is that player, and it seems like the entire team might just fall here at 16th place.
Quite a poor start based on all these small little casual mistakes that have kind of resulted in the late rotation for Batman. And now that they know, okay, that rotation pathway is not safe. They lost 2 members, and Vampire Esports, they're taking 2 teams at once as they lurk around the corners of the patrol station trying to catch a side. And Batman, they're flushing forward, and they get a catch onto Logan. Infinity will try to go in for the refract as well, with Nate being tossed in from Newsy, and that's Batman United out at 16.
Yeah, it was a tough one to get through. Infinity and VPE both holding guards in their own respective posts here. So it was an unfortunate event for them. I think they were hoping for a hard shift down to SMB and they would have gotten the advantage, but unfortunately it didn't quite pan out that way. But now Vampire Esports is the one in a pickle because Infinity, they've got eyes all set to hold this entire compound, but they don't care. Ravenclaw crashes straight into Sniper's bunker. He's taking fire from all angles. Oh, he survived. Oh, but the grenade will take him down. Newsy gets a god nade, and now Ravenclaw in need of assistance here. Can Vampire Esports look to follow this one up?
Happy now also catching on to members side of Onyx. Meanwhile, Moans gets dropped out as Axis Rent 1 goes in for the frags. Shreps now take a peek. That's got huge damage being done. Haynuke will burn the vehicles of NFT Esports, and that's Drawn taken out as well. 3 members left for Vampire Esports as they opt to move away. Now that they've already lost Ramones, well, not really Ramones, that's another different player from another team. Well, Onyx have got that perfect position right behind the tree as Jevs goes in to swipe a few players out. They've got 4 frags already by just staying into the heels of Pachinki.
Yeah, definitely panning out for them. Now, Geek Fam is another name that you said has done very tremendously well during the first Super Weekend, but now they're up against gods because it's FaZe Clan, and we've seen what they can do. Vintorus confirms the kills onto Geek Fam. All their other members injured and does not look like they're in a potential winnable fight, although they have the high ground. Sane OP playing just behind a rock with the nades. The Molotov has been tossed forward. He's burning! And will go down. Tony K rushes in, wipes Geek Fam out.
Geek Fam, they were trying to pin them down, but there's no way that you can stop the prodigy of FaZe Clan. Tony K goes on a rampage, and that's 4 pointers in for FaZe Clan as they try to match up to Vampire Esports, who's already got 5, but they left 1 out there. So with 3 members in the matchup itself, I want to see how Vampire Esports navigate their way around Eagle Esports. This is their time here to take up a fight against RRQ Ryu as they are by the forest. Paragen soaks a little damage coming from the grenades that was being tossed in. The flanks come right through with the smoke grenades also being popped, but it's not going to give him any sort of cover. Here comes a little bit more exchanges as they drop more nades. Back at it again as RRQ Ryu is being held back, and they both have to actually make a move. The circle's going to be shrinking pretty soon. Kachang Susu takes out Paragen from another off angle with a little bit of third-party action. That's going to be another member off the side of Eagle Esports. Paragen as well as Napchin is already down. Dakon is the next to fall through. And RRQ Ryu finding a way to clean it all up, while pubg is the next one on the short end of the stake, leaving only 1 member left, and that is non-standing. My word, 6 pointers in for RRQ Ryu.
Now this team, man, they missed out on the first Super Weekend, but look at how they play. They are absolutely devastating. Scary, to say the least. Right now, leading in the elimination charts, only shy by one from VPE. But they are. This is not the first. This is not the RRQ we saw in week number 1. This is definitely a revamped one. Whatever they're jabbing into their veins, keep it up.
That's right. Team Secret already in the circle alongside with MS Chonburi, I do believe. If they're not in, they're just pretty much close by. Meanwhile, Bigatron Red Aliens is next to EVOS Reborn. I'm looking for that rematch that we've been waiting up for. Now, Vampire Esports, they want to take their guns straight at it as they find members of FaZe Clan. That's Corply taken down with Schweb.
MR5 too.
MR5. And now, members of the Vampire Esports, they didn't see the flank coming in from Tony K, but he's outside of the play zone as well. Ventoris needs to hold up a clutch with 6 pointers in. These are your top teams out there battling out early in Phase 5. And Fluke really has to find that opening. And Ventoris pretty much all alone. He has to move on by. And he doesn't have the help. And he's a little bit too slow. Ventoris is now caught up with the DP spray down coming out of Fluke to secure those knocks.
Oh, VPE, that was a clash between Thailand teams here, and, well, it was a stalemate, I'd say. FaZe leaving Tony K left alive, and Fluke from Vampire Esports. Meanwhile, MSC Chonburi, they're another Thai team that got knocked out, but look at that. FaZe is now in a sticky situation with Fluke already getting bombed out by Axis.
Speaking of being bombed out, there goes Tony K as well. Onyx Esports, they have 2 members crawling right by. And for now, it's FaZe Clan there that secured a 9th place position with 5 frags for their own. At least a decent start to come right by. Newsy inside of bars. Meanwhile, EVOS Reborn, they're pushing in. They're looking for Bigatron Red Aliens in this close quarter compound. To get the UMP, it's going to be KF here that wants to look for the opening. And Zuxi, he doesn't really have that much health left. And Bigatron Red Aliens have been bitten off by the White Tigers of EVOS Reborn.
Man, Bigatron out with 0 points? That does not feel like them. And we finally get a conclusion on one of the El Clasico matchups we have today. Obviously, does not determine everything indefinitely, but the Bigatron, they just were the lesser teams today. So far in match number 1.
At least when it comes out to position, they definitely have the greatest of idea of how to hold it out, but they don't have the firepower because they already lost members very early on. Meanwhile, Team Secret picks off the final member in the form of the Infinity 7th place finish with 6 more teams to go. It's only 22 minutes of the game. And you look at it, only 16 remain, and that intensity, that sort of tempo that these teams are playing on is definitely beyond the usual rate that we are seeing from most of these other casual competitions. But whereas we fix our eyes onto Team Secret, they will launch an attack onto EVOS Reborn with Kachang Susu taken down by Neprico of RQ Ryu.
Yes, I'm talking about RRQ. Look at that. They're leading up the charts right now. 8 kills with still all 4 members alive, and probably going to get even more kills here as Axis. Kachang Susu gets knocked down. And, well, confirmed by Onyx, actually. Stolen was his efforts, but they didn't lose a single member, so I'd say value on their end. But EVOS, though, Lyzerk gets a knock onto one of our RQs. They have the high ground, have this top spot here. Lyzerk, very strategic position. I don't think a single person can get by without him noticing at this point. So EVOS will hold his ground here, pin them down for long enough. Let's see if they can retaliate.
And as we look at the rest of the field of view here, we have Axis Red One using the smokes here to take cover by this small little shack that they have. The problem with this is that they will draw attention. Meanwhile, RQ will have more trying to reposition with Haynu trying to pull the trigger by this small little angle that he has in this sort of shack that can have a little bit of that open window as they try to take good advantage and sort of tree frags. And RQ Ryu don't really have all too much of that vehicle options left on the table with 2 members remaining. Axis Red 1, they just right by that corner of the circle and they can still stay put.
Staying put indeed, but so is Axis, and Axis is the one with the cover, but Matoy though knocks out Micah from the far end with the scopes, so that will create some sort of alleviation to the pressure. But EVOS now, all these White Tigers waiting to munch on him. This is more like shark-like behaviors, but they're gonna look to prey and pounce.
Wow.
He jumps straight across them. And it's actually shooting them from the sides here. Frito will try and outplay this situation. He does get info on one of the members of EVOS, but it's become a 4v1 here, or rather a 3 with one member taking a look at some other angles here. But Team Secret Fredo, we've seen him clutch before. He will try, he's going up on the high ground, will get some sort of advantage, taking some hits, but Mudtoy, he's still alive.
Yeah, Matoy managed to maneuver his way around, but members of the side of EVOS Reborn, they have that numbers advantage to take them on. Access Rate 1 has already been taken out. Micro Uzi coming up from Micro Boy. And now with Matoy making a move, this ain't gonna look all too good. The spray transition is great, and Matoy crashes out, having no space to move out of the way. Although 4 Rivals does have the circle, they don't really have all too much firepower left. EVOS Reborn, now that they have what it takes, they have vehicles to make their run in, but they have to deal with RR Kiryu, which is now currently pinned down as Borg needs to be safe here. I'm not too sure whether they could actually launch a refrag, and we already seen 10 frags coming. EVOS Reborn, they start off on such a dominant fashion.
Yeah, it's looking like so heavily their end here with Microboy just spraying down the smokes here. No hesitation, and EVOS will claim the first winner chicken dinner in match number 1 of Super Weekend 2.
And this is it. Your Indonesian representative here for the PMPL ID has been able to start off on a great note and set the bar high. You just look at the kill feed running, and there's a whole lot of white and blue with Microboy as well as Lizer